Welcome! I hope you are doing well. I am back again with a quick video. In today's video, we are going to be looking into the Apocrypha. In case you didn't know what Apocrypha is all about, the Apocrypha is a selection of books which were published in the original 1611 King James Bible. These Apocryphal books were positioned between the Old and New Testament. The word apocrypha, which means hidden or sacred, is used to distinguish biblical writings that are not considered authoritative from those that are. But the question is, who gave these wicked people the authority to remove books from the Bible and to say what books are there inspired and which ones aren't? Here, you see the list of books that have been taken out. The first book of Esdras, the second book of Esdras, the first book of Maccabees, the second book of Maccabees, the book of Baruch, the book of Bel and the Dragon, Ecclesiastes or the Preacher, the book of Esther, the book of Judith, the prayer of Manasseh, the songs of Solomon, the history of Susanna, the book of Tobit and the book of Wisdom. Modern readers of the King James Bible may be surprised to learn that for the first 200 years of its publication, most editions of these well-known translations included the book of Apocrypha. The question is, why are these books hidden and why were they removed from the original King James 1611 Bible? Well, for one, many claim the Apocrypha should have never been included in the first place, raising doubt about its validity and believing it was never yet inspired. While others believe, such as myself, that it is valid yet inspired and that it should never have been removed. So what about you? Let me see your comment below. Before we make the decision that we aren't going to read these books, it is important that we investigate why they may have taken these books out. It is imperative that we do our own due diligence before we dismiss these books as not being yet inspired. When you begin to study these books, you will find out that they were taken out by these wicked people in order to replace them with their own religious doctrines. Yes, you heard me right. If you haven't read any of these hidden books yet, I will help you get started on the journey in 2nd Esdras 13. Who gives Esdras detailed visions and speaks directly to him about the last days? I'm going to provide you with a good example of why they took these books out as we read 2nd Esdras chapter 13, starting at verse 14. You are going to find out that what Yah tells Esdras about the end days doesn't fit in with religious doctrines about the rapture. You see, the church teaches the false doctrine that people who call themselves Christians and believe in Jesus will be raptured out of the tribulation period. Well, let's see what Yahweh tells us about the last days and what it means to be taken or raptured. 2nd 13, starting at verse 14, expounds on the book of Revelations, in which was almost taken out of the Bible as well. So it says, "Thou hast shown the servant these wonders from the beginning, and hast contented me worthy that thou should receive my prayer. Show me now, yet, the interpretation of his dream. For as I conceive in my own understanding, woe unto them that shall be left in those days, and much more woe unto them that are not left behind." So obviously, those who were taken are going to be in much more danger and much more trouble than those who were left behind on earth. Let's continue reading to see if it tells us anything about being raptured out of tribulation. So far, it sounds like the people who are taken suddenly are going to experience a great danger. Verse 17. "For those that were not left were in heavens, now understand the things that are laid up in the latter days, which shall happen unto them and to those that are left behind. Therefore, are they coming to great perils and many necessities, like as these dreams declare? Yet it is easier for him to come into these things than to pass away as a cloud out of the world, and not to see the things that happen in the last days. And he answered me and said, My interpretation of the vision shall I show thee, and I will open up to thee the thing that thou hast required. Whereas thou hast spoken of them that are left behind. This is the interpretation. So, as we can see, He just had a dream or a vision and he's asking the Most High to interpret and tell him what this dream means in regards to what's going to happen in the last days. So, in verse 21, the Most High addresses this issue by telling him, since you want to know what the vision means, I'm going to tell you. Now, as we go into 23, this is what the Most High says. He that shall endure the peril in the time hath kept himself. They that have fallen into danger, such as have works and faith, are the Almighty. Know this therefore, that they which are left behind are more blessed than they that be dead. And this is the meaning of the vision. So the Most High is very clear on this. It is better to be left here on the earth with the weather, disasters, pandemics and plagues, death and destructions happening all around us than to be suddenly taken. And this is why I like to quote Matthew chapter 24 and verse 13 for people, because it says, he that endures unto the end, those are the one who are going to be saved. Those who keep his commandments and endure all these tribulations. So, the Most High was telling us studios that those of us who we are here in the end times or in the last days, that we should want to be left here on earth instead of suddenly taken, because the perils that are here on earth that we are going through are nothing compared to what they will be if we are suddenly taken. So now, after reading from the hidden book Esdras, we can now see why they removed this book. The pre-tribulation doctrine might be a popular belief, but more importantly, it is a satanic deception. There is no pre-tribulation rapture that will ever happen because it's not in the Bible. So, now those of you who have never read the Apocrypha, and those of you who may never believe that it was inspired, just with the small amount of information we learned today in the book of Esdras, we can now begin to question the real motives behind removing them, the Apocrypha, from the Bible. The information we learned today also gives us an idea as to why the church and cemetery schools reject these books at the end of the day. Whether you believe that these books are inspired or not, before anything else, make sure that you are keeping your own commandments to the best of your ability while believing on the Yehoshua, who was the word of the Most High. After all, he is the image of the invisible Father who came to take away our sins. And above all, we know that our very salvation ultimately is what is important. But in order to keep ourselves and endure unto the end, we must have a clear understanding of who you are. We can't just reject these books because we have never been introduced to them before. We must at least consider what is true. Hosea 4:6 says that, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, and because we have rejected knowledge, the Most High is also going to reject us and our children. Then, Isaiah chapter 1 and verse 3 says that we won't even consider biblical truth. Instead, we are quick to reject it without doing our due diligence. The question is it important for you to think that you're right or be prepared with the truth, which offers eternal salvation? This concludes my message. May Yah bless you and keep you and family in this dark hour. Keep God's commandments to the best of your ability and believe in magic. Remember, Matthew chapter 24 in verse 13 says, he who endures unto the end, the same shall be saved. And on to my next video. Thanks for watching and bye for now.